Hello, and welcome to another scene set in the Deaths of the Dark Crusade. As we zoom in on the marble tower, the Elysium of the city, in all its ostentatious glory. One of the few places of the city at this point which has probably not been subject to significant rioting, thanks to much bribery on the Baron's part, and his significant influence has managed to keep this part of the market district with a significant city guard population. As the nobles begin to tighten their grip, the Baron has gathered what men he's could to maintain some semblance of order within this city as it deteriorates under the siege. And the Baron sits attentively and also somewhat impatiently in the main halls, waiting for something. What is that something? Perhaps we should ask the other characters in the scene what that something is.
Yes, at this point, within the luxurious domain of the Elysium, Conra, looking rather content and slightly disturbed of the past recent events, comes in there with a smile on his face, shouting to others. I was like, "For the glory of our kingdom, we have struck our enemy near the heart, and I wish to invite all who reside within this place for a grand gathering within the week or so."
Azir, on the other hand, is perhaps trying to liven spirits and celebrate, in that he was successful in retrieving his sire from the makeshift hovel, and has him currently within the city limits, waiting a opportunity for him to awaken and make his escape to another, perhaps better location. It is often not good to have a marauder in the city for long.
That is something of an accurate statement, considering what has happened to some of these poor individuals who resided within the city in its given state. And the Baron, he rises upon this announcement, upon these reports and hearings, and we'll head on over to the two. As polite as always, in his noble gown. And Azir has not told, or is it? Sorry, I didn't quite catch if Azir told Ulrich his sire was in the city or not, or if he's telling them that now.
Yes, he's going to tell him that now. He's going to say that he participated in the thing with the sheriff, and he was able to get his sire.
Ah, okay. In which case, Ulrich heads on over to the two of you, and states, welcome, gentlemen. I hope you're in good health.
Indeed, hopefully the city itself will be in much better health soon.
I would very much think so. The battle was indeed glorious, was it not?
It, in some cases, yes, but still, the loss of life is, even an enemy's life can not be deemed so happily, I should say. But it is, again, we are, or rather, the brave men who went out there and lost their lives. They did so to protect their families and their businesses, their ways of life. I believe that is a good thing. I believe God would agree that that they were doing the correct thing, despite the manners of what the bard thinks.
Conrad will kind of, I guess, chortle at that idea and goes, I understand that our people need to defend themselves, their families and loved ones. Thus, I honor them with this celebration. Our enemies deserve to be plowed under our feet and gouged. It's not like they tried to discuss their terms with us. They only attacked us unpropagated. Am I not correct? So they earn no mercy. They don't deserve it.
Again, it is Conrad, as I say, the musings of a bard. Sometimes they are too romantic for the way the world is.
And Conrad will look over to Baron, my dear Baron, what do you think of our success?
Scourge sacrificed his life to get that river flowing again. Let's not waste his victory. As for the wagon, I was hoping for more, but we shall take what we can get. Today was a good victory, although I do weep for the sacrifice of our fallen.
I understand, my good Ben. The sacrifices will be remembered in solemn and we'll remember in solemn dedication to the sacrifice. But I also do believe that in the months of the darkest times, we should celebrate what good times will come to this. So I wish to invite you and to all of our brethren, be they mortal or of the kindred, to my palace within the week. I will make sure to give everybody invitations.
Palace, you say?
Well, estate, if you wish to be more specific.
There is a single raised eyebrow, but it drops when he mentions estate.
As the two of them have been talking, Azir has been playing, or has begun to play something lively, something cheerful. Again, something to lighten the mood for everyone there at the Elysium.
Jacob's... Sorry, not Jacob. Who am I talking about? Who is this Jacob fellow? This strange silver werewolf enters the scene and kills everyone. No. Auric has heard Azir's music before. He enjoys it. This isn't quite as strong a performance as last time, but you know, it's still a success. It's still good. It's still solid. He definitely it definitely catches his attention, and he kind of looks approvingly, but doesn't interrupt. He doesn't try and talk to Azir while he's stringing his lute along.
Yes.
Doesn't want to disrupt his flow.
No, that would be terrible to do. Azir, it's almost as if Azir kind of fades into the background and just continues to play as the Baron and Conra continue their conversation.
Well,
Right.
Considering your fine work, I believe I'll be making an appearance.
Yes. And my dear Baron, I noticed you weren't there at the battle. I'm assuming you're covering other things.
Yes, I was attending to Mort's administrative matters, I'm afraid.
So, well, I would recommend that you show up. I'm very sure your leadership can guide us to even greater victories.
Alright, nods at this. He doesn't appear moved either which way. I guess you could say he is a fairly neutral look on that, even as he nods.
And I understand that the Lady Madeline could not be aware. I know she is not one for fighting, but I believe her visage would give great inspiration to our troops.
It is not in her way to commit to combat. She is, of course, a woman of the cloth.
And Azir, it was like you have been silent about your accomplishments. I heard that you survived many conflicts.
Indeed, as he kind of plays rather slowly, quietly almost. Yes, indeed, Conrad. I apparently Azir is very good as a target practice for arrows. But it is true, I have survived many hardships, and I too, in my own way, was able to attack the enemy, though it was not to any success like the Deer Scourge and to our Sheriff Faven. Him and his men, and your men too, I believe, all contributed much, much more than I. So I dare not even utter. I dare not even utter myself within the same sentence as them. Their deeds much more higher than mine.
Should not cut yourself so short. The sheriff is recognized for his ways of the sword. He is a titan amongst us all. It does not change the fact that every person who participated deserves to be celebrated.
Indeed, perhaps after this battle, and see my rather ineptness in it. Perhaps you and I can get together sometime, and you teach me how to wield a blade more effectively, so that if, God forbid, some enemy tries to trounce within our walls, this bard will be able to defend it and its people more properly.
I would gladly do so, Azir. I could easily do so tonight if you wish.
Then please let us try and make plans for that.
And my dear
Though
Bear,
there is also another cause for celebration, Baron. I was able to retrieve my sire from his hidden place during the battle, or rather after the battle itself had commenced.
Ah, fantastic. I'm glad to hear that you have achieved your secondary objective. I was beginning to grow concerned of the lack of mention. Is he still in his current state, or has he recovered?
He is still resting, Baron. I am uncertain, of course, when he will awaken, but it should be within a few nights, and he will no doubt disappear into the winds as one does.
Interesting. Well, when he does, do remind him to come introduce himself. It will be a pleasure to meet with the individual who sired one such as yourself.
I will plead with him to do so. And he kind of just nods a bit. And I'm gonna just do a perception awareness thing here. Nothing too spectacular. No.
What are you trying to perceive?
He's trying to find someone, actually. A pretty girl, a pretty maid girl.
I'm just gonna roll d10, see how prevalent they are. Okay, they're very, very prevalent. Ulrich has a lot of pretty maid girls.
He's looking for one specifically. Perhaps, one success, maybe.
I rolled a 9, like, with a
Yeah.
7, you definitely succeed in finding, like, probably at least one, maybe a couple more, who would
Yeah,
meet your requirements.
Yes. Azir simply smiles and says, "Gentlemen, please continue your conversation. This bard perhaps has a muse to speak to." And he kind of gets up and he walks over, still playing something. Again, it's very slow. It's very much like background music. But as he gets closer to this woman, let's see how he goes on this one.
He's
Much better.
he's charming as hell. He's very yeah. He is a very attractive man right now.
Yes, indeed, he is playing beautifully, and this servant girl, which happens to be the one that he talked to previously, and they seem to be getting along rather firmly, and that is where Azir will be doing the rest of the scene, is wooing.
Ulrich shall turn to Conra as he lets Azir find his meal. So, then, this party.
Yes, Baron.
Will there be beverages available?
Excuse me, sir.
I'm actually just going to make a straight up charisma or expression roll. And it wouldn't be expression, actually. It's subliminal messaging, so it's an inferred point, so it's actually subterfuge. When I say expression, I realized, note for the future, STs, expression is actually used for writing, not speeches. For oratory, use charisma leadership. For writing speeches, use expression. So that is something we shall get to in the future, as I believe I will roll my 6 dice, and wow, that is still a success. He's obviously implying feeding said mortal herd to feed upon. If there will be literal people to just feed upon.
I say that the refreshments for our special guest will be available, but I will have to ask everybody to curb their appetites. Just momentarily. They are still under my service, so I'd rather not have to replace people too quickly. Well, I am in the business of right now of entertainment, and my dear Baron, I actually wish to ask you about that.
Brandon kind of eyes you with not. He doesn't give you the stink eye or anything. His eyes just kind of level with you.
I'm about to officially obtain a partnership with a, let's say, a passionate venue that has been sadly ignored within the city. And I think this would be a subterfuge manipulation to bring out a secret message, correct? Or that be leadership manipulation?
So what's he trying to do?
I'm doing can't speech, so I'm trying to speak around what I'm trying to say. So would that be leadership manipulation or subterfuge manipulation?
It would be charisma subterfuge. Wait, are you trying to are you trying to communicate something without saying it, or are you trying to? Okay, charisma subterfuge.
Yeah. Okay. That's one thing it's gonna do with my check is get a cam, so I don't have to keep people rolling dice for me.
Yeah. How many dice?
That would be charisma manipulation. That'd be 6 dice.
Charisma subterfuge. Sorry.
Yeah, charisma subterfuge, but yeah, that's still 6 dice.
So still 6 dice. Okay, that's cool. And you botch.
Oh, bam.
That's a botch of 2 degrees. You probably, yeah, that's a botch. You probably end up. You not only don't say what you're trying to say, but it comes across as offensive, insulting, like it's almost patronizing. You just outright say what you're thinking to the point of where it just comes across as like, what did you just say, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you try and speak around it, and then you just end up circling back around and stating what you were trying to work around to begin with, which was
I am creating a partnership with a very small brothel, and I'm going to expand it.
You just say that super bluntly, and you say it in such a way that's like kind of just like you might even accidentally like. We're making a place where girls go to fuck people for money, or something like that.
No, man, I don't discriminate, men or women, or whatever in between.
Ulrich's eyes just narrow. If nothing else happens, his eyes just narrow on you. It's like suddenly he's speaking in such a way that's completely inappropriate in front of the Baron. It's just like, what?
I use my etiquette roll to try to come back.
You botched by 2 degrees, sir. And yes, it's not even an ordinary botch. You botched this roll hard. So you're lucky he has not just thrown you out of Elysium. So he eyes you and scares. I see. I perhaps expected some cleaner meals, but I suppose it will do. He says that in a rather deep voice, and one that's kind of meant to hit back a little bit.
Well, I felt the place was undervalued, and I also thought it'd be easier to feed our kind with a bit more finesse compared to some of the other propositions.
Well, you're not the first to have such an idea.
But I hope I'm the first to do with excellence.
He just stares at you. As in, I'm actually just going to have him make actually, no. It's pretty obvious that he's not buying your shit, and that either he's not buying your shit, someone else has already done it better than you, or both. Ulrich is not happy you spoke to him in such a way that came across as insulting. Perhaps it was like, and normally he generally has a fairly, you notice he's been fairly tolerant of people, even when they've been not tactful. Today he just seems to be treating you right. Ever since you said that, though, he seems to have been like much more hands off with you. And yeah, he just seems to be giving you a bit of a cold shoulder right now. You can puny him if you want.
Yeah.
I will actually roll to. I mean, that's 1,000,000 successes, so Oh, you can't see all my dice. Okay, one's an 8. Yeah, there we go. They're all there now.
Yeah.
What did you want to roll? Perception, empathy. How many dice is that?
If I'm doing, if I'm trying to read his emotions, perception, empathy, which that would be what 5 dice for me.
Okay, you need 5 successes.
Yeah.
You fail. Yeah, he can't really gain anything other than that. He seems to be giving you the cold shoulder and seems to be kind of pissed off at you. And yeah, you're very much aware though that you have said the wrong thing. You are aware of what's gone wrong. You're not just blindly blundering. You're aware of your own blunder. You know that much just because it was something you said. You obviously know it was something you said. There's no other way to put it. No, there's no other way for him to really be mad at you. So you know it was obviously something you said, and you know where it is.
And I will notice that. And my character's expression and voice won't really change, but he will bring up that my bear and I may have been too, let's say, excited of this new development for myself. So, but I wish. So, if I have apparently offended with you, I did not mean so. But I have very much a strong confidence in this idea.
I understand no one is perfect. We're all expected to slip up every now and again, but if you wish to be a host to a party, that is not how it would start. Be wise to keep that out of your future interactions with other people, unless they inquire specifically. Again, he's being nicer to you in word, but his expression is still annoyed.
Well, I say this, my man. I think it'd be wiser to predicate that my resources are valued than otherwise. I've been to too many occasions where they overstated what they can supply with us, and then they complain later on that they lack the necessary supplies to keep their business running.
I see. Perhaps you can acquire some less boiled food for myself.
What? I see. And any further requests? I'm here to please.
He thinks on this for a moment. He kind of looks at you. He just stares at you with these half-open eyes. It's just that his mouth is always open, like it's almost slack-jawed, like it's almost intentionally being poorly mannered, as if to get the point across, to give you a bit of your own medicine, or maybe it's just a lack of respect. A song about our great victory. Contact Azir and have him design one, and of course tributes for our great sheriff, our great council.
If I wish for tribute, I must know of our chef. I only know of his position. I do not know the man. Do you?
You do not know of Ivan Zul? In which case you should ask him. Head down to the catacombs. I'm sure you can find him one way or the other. Or more likely, he will find you. His eye contact seems sporadic. He seems to every now and then just look towards the ceiling or look away from you. It's insanely this very nonchalant, whatever attitude. It's pretty bad attitude he's suddenly showing. And then he just let's actually have him roll for it. Yeah, he snaps back to his former self. That is a charismatic role. Suddenly his eye contact is all on you, his back strains. Everything about him is suddenly much more regal again. It's this really bizarre transformation that just doesn't really make any sense. He kind of going from this kind of lazy, kind of like a sleazy asshole. This very cocky, disrespectful tyrant of a man to someone who suddenly looks very regal. One could say in the modern world he would look presidential, basically. He kind of goes from looking, from some thug to this upstanding member of society.
And Conrad will definitely take note of this. And in response, he kind of smirks, I will look for Ivan to make sure he has proper tribute. And I also hope that I can bring forth, and so specifically, he says that, and he's going to be looking around for a female, any female to be specific, and kind of motion them over here.
Yeah, there's plenty around. There's plenty of maids around. There's plenty of servants in general. It's not like it's a woman-only profession. There are plenty of servants of all genders and actually quite a few ethnicities. Odessa is a diverse city. There is actually quite a lot of every servant is quite different. There's young and old. There's some of Middle Eastern descent. There's obviously some from mixed descent. Some from the West, obviously, whose families came on the Crusades, and are perhaps in not in the best standing because one of them was working as a servant, but they're working as the servant for the Marble Tower, which does pay probably a bit better than your average lord. Still not great, but it's something. Mainly because the Baron is rich and this is an important place, and thus the servants get paid just a little bit extra for their trouble. But yes, you find a person you're looking for. It is not hard.
Yeah, and I'm making sure though. You have noticed that I'm making a little bit of space between us, but enough to be noticeable, but not enough where you're not typically at an arm's reach of me.
Yeah,
and I'll go over as the woman comes over. I will gently grab her face and I will embrace her.
What?
Not that.
I was gonna say.
No, that's a very point. Specifically, as in physical embrace, less metaphysical embrace.
Okay.
And in the response of this, and you notice I'm not biting her; I'm just kissing her. But she seizes up, and it's not a violent reaction; actually, a very pleasant reaction. And if she's holding anything, she's definitely dropped it.
Is he biting her?
No, he's just kissing her.
Okay.
And when he separates from her, she falls to the ground, and you might notice a small puddle. And goes, I have a tendency to bring forth the best in people. And he walks out.
A puddle. Did he literally just kill someone in front of the Baron?
No. You can investigate the puddle if you want to.
Yeah, what is this puddle?
It's clear and it smells kind of funny.
Wait, what the just quit intelligence, or he basically drugged this woman.
No, she got so in such ecstasy, she orgasmed at that moment.
Oh, she got high on ecstasy?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he sniffs it. He doesn't really know much. I'm actually going to just have a roll for it. I mean, he has no fucking idea what this is. I mean, it's weird, but he has no idea what the fuck that is. In fact, he has to check a pulse quickly, because obviously he has no idea what this is. He has no idea what the fuck this is. He checks, she finds out she's still breathing.
She's still perfectly fine. If anything, she seems happy. She seems maybe a little glossy-eyed, but there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, she's a bit glossy-eyed. She'd probably be in a... I mean, this is like the equivalent of spiking someone's drink forcefully. or like poisoning them right in front of their face. Like, obviously their emotions are affected by the drug. They're also in a state of shock because of what you just did. And Oric's not really sure to make of this. I'm actually going to have him roll for it. He's not as bothered. Actually, he doesn't. I'm retroactively cancelling out a roll here, but he is high enough on his worried that this pisses him off. He doesn't have a roll for us. He did not do it, but he is pissed off that this happened. Connor leaves. One of the ghouls heads inside. You hear Ulrich shout for the ghoul, actually, as you leave. The ghoul walks straight past you. He doesn't really register you. He picks up the girl and puts her somewhere on a couch. Make sure she's okay. Ulrich heads on over to her, kind of peers down. He's more analytical than anyone else. You see him kind of shoot you a glare as you walk out. Maybe this backfired for you. You might think, as that single glare was worse than anything you've had this entire evening. That was literally a death glare. That was not pleasant, even remotely.
It goes with my road. He's actually kind of smirking about this. He thinks this is fun at the moment, less as an offense. He's actually trying to thinking that. Even with the death glare, that we understand it upset him. It's like what I did in his mind is not wrong, and it's fun for.
Oh no, yeah. You feel like this is totally fine. You might understand why Rook is pissed off because, well, most kindreds, most Knights understand why many would consider this a bad thing. You just don't. You have a different philosophy.
Yeah.
So you might understand what you might have an inkling why Ulrich is angry. You know definitely that what you did cause them to be angry. And the ghouls he's kind of looking at you now. One of the ghouls, the less well-armed ghoul, kind of has his hands kind of twitching by his side, by his blade, just in case. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't reach for his blade. It's just there, just in case. It's like the entire environment is more hostile now, almost. It went from basically a small party to like a Cold War scenario. Very, very tense. And as you leave, Arik just looks outside, looks very, 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 very angry. Kind of looks down towards the woman. As angry as he is, angry as much because this woman is his servant as she is a person. This person, to Ulrich, this is not killing someone Elysium, but this is not too far off. This was unprovoked. This can't be punished, but it's poor form, in his opinion, in such a way as to be technically technically keeping to the law, but breaking its spirit. And he does not enjoy this, and will leave as he lets the ghoul tend to the woman. Keep an eye out just in case. They do not need to dump a body. They do not need a body in their Elysium. And will leave disgruntled and angry. And that is where we will end our scene.